Jesus Christ!
Because
look
I've been
at
to
you,
prison?
Bro. You got 10-inch arms and tits.
Why
Well,
don't
look
you
at.
even
Are
let
you
me
proud?
tits?
If you look in the mirror, would you guys say this proud of who the he is? That's a bag of trash. Do you have money?
No, I don't have.
How much money do you have?
I don't
Does he
have money.
So quick run through, guys. The two guys arguing in this. The guy yelling is named Wes Watson. He's a fitness influencer / positive, I think, thinker influencer type guy, like mindset, personal development. Yeah, okay. And then the guy he's arguing with is Andrew, who is part of this YouTube channel called The Crucible, and basically it's a debate channel. I think they both had really good points. Like, when you break down their points, like Wes Watson's point is, how do you know that you want something if you've never had it?
This is the thing, you guys. If you ain't fit, you can't say it's not all about being in good shape.
Why not?
If you don't have money, you can't say it's not all about money.
Yeah, why not?
But if he does have money, he can say that.
Like, how do you know that you don't want success if you've never had it, which I understand. And then Andrew's point, or the Crucible's point, is pretty much you define what success means to you in your life.
My definition of success is having a family, having children, and being part of the apparatus of the world. And true wealth is a rejection of materialism. As Christ said himself, what good does it benefit a man to gain the entire world at the cost of his soul?
The problem with this situation, guys, is that Wes Watson went way too far, and he was way too disrespectful in this entire exchange.
Tits and 10-inch arms is what a man is, you guys.
Let's let him
Please
get his,
don't listen to that.
Wes, let's let him get his thing out, and then
Tits.
We can have different opinions.
Yeah.
Titties.
Anyway, back to where I was at.
Boobs.
Keyword there is disrespectful. I was actually trying to figure out, why is he popping off like that? Is there some behind the scenes beef going on? Because my man Andrew, I mean, listen, and I have to say what you just said, I agree with part of it. I will say that I'm not of the camp that believes you have to try something in order to know whether or not you like it. I think that Andrew is a value-based person, and he goes, okay, these are my values, and therefore, if what's out here does not match my values, I don't need to try it. What I will say where I do disagree with Andrew is that just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you need to be broke. Now back to Wes. Yeah, I don't know why this man was so angry. I really don't get it.
Yeah, he was just really out of pocket. And I think when you start doing ad hominem attacks to someone, that really destroys your point. Like, you start talking about him having, like, man tits and all this other stuff like that. And the whole panel was brought together to show basically men how to act, and then you're exhibiting how not to act and how not to carry yourself.
Facts.
And here's the thing. I don't think that he necessarily makes bad content. I've seen some of his content. He was a guy who went to prison, and then he changed his life. Like, I don't think he makes bad content. I just think that this is a bad look. Like, it's just so unnecessary. Like, why can't he have his point, you have your point, and at some point in time, you notice in the conversation, Andrew wasn't even really trying to go back and forth with him. But then, I mean, once you take it to a disrespectful level and you start shooting ad hominems, you have to defend yourself.
Exactly. And speaking of defend yourself, Andrew defended himself in the coldest way, man. That was sly. You picked up on that?
Yeah.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
He didn't come up the gate talking about, oh, I'm armed and I know how to use it. No. He was just responding to Wes's, it wasn't perceived, honestly. I mean, he literally said, I'd slap you or something like that.
Yeah.
So he literally just responded to Wes's threat by saying, listen, calmly, cool, and collectively saying it wouldn't be wise to slap or threaten or attack an armed man in Florida.
I'll smack your fat ass.
So you're gonna attack? You're gonna attack me?
All right.
Nobody's
Do you usually attack armed men in Florida?
Which is facts. That was cold.
Yeah.
That was cold.
Yeah.
Like,
he slid that in there. Yeah.
And it wasn't like he was trying to boast and say, I will use this and I want to. He's the type of guy who I think is a responsible citizen to be armed. Cool, calm, collected, remain calm, don't get overly emotional about it, and just let the person know, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think he showed a good example of why it's important to be stoic.
Yeah.
And not pop off and do all that other extra stuff. And, you know, it just shows that, you know, even though Wes is an influence, he still has a lot of work that he's got to do on himself. You know, popping out and saying all that unnecessary stuff. Because, listen, does he have a point where health is very important? Yes, health is very important. I don't think that you can be a good family man if you're not healthy.
I agree with
like,
that.
if you're not at your best health, how are you going to help your family? So that is very important. It's very important to stay in shape too. But at the point where you just start attacking people and then going back and forth and then just all this unnecessary stuff. Like, he's not even your enemy. Like, I don't understand how you can get so angry to even spew some of that stuff out of his mouth.
Well, I think he made a good point. He has a lot of work to do. And this is no disrespect to Wes. We don't have any problem with him. He makes decent content, and but I will say, I mean, yeah, he has work to do. He went back to his old self, which landed him in prison, which he admitted himself, and that's exactly the opposite of what young men should be doing, is reacting how he reacted, threatening a man who poses no threat, which is it was too much.
But I think one of Andrew's strengths, though, is that because they were talking to a bunch of people, normal, regular guys, I think his point definitely had more weight to it, because a lot of guys aren't aiming to be rich millionaires who are bodybuilders. Most of them just want to be regular people who have a regular family and, are able to do their duties as a man.
You mentioned earlier too that number one, you can't really be a healthy or be a good father without, or lead your family how you could or how you should without health.
Yeah,
being healthy. And it's unfortunate that Wes's point fell on deaf ears because of how he acted. Because he did have good points. If he had said, "Hey, I mean, I think that," and along with, we can agree to disagree to some point, but I do think that a man should be fit. You don't gotta be a muscle bound guy, but be fit, take care of yourself. That's a good value to live by. But because he got up and
I mean, he the way that he introduced his point was through shaming. He said, "Well, look at his body, look at this, look at this." I'm like, if you're in a conference about men being men, one of the important things about being men is not shaming dudes for, it's being able to walk over and have a good conversation and agreeing to disagree, because you're not going to agree with everything that somebody says.
I wonder how much of it was him trying to make a viral moment, because at one point he said, "I like this. This is what this is supposed to be about." I'm like, is he trying to do that? Like, or
I mean,
I don't know.
It actually seems like it might have been, now that I think about it, because it was really uncalled for. It wasn't that serious.
At all.
It definitely wasn't a good look. But I mean, it could be, because at this point, people just want eyes on them, and he definitely went viral.
Oh, that's for sure.
Okay, guys, so ultimately, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to say that Wes made a very bad decision, especially in a world where the word alpha male is viewed very negatively. I think that he's proving people's point about why people consider that space to be very toxic. So I'm just going to say it's a bad decision.
Yeah, I would agree. That was definitely a very bad look. Bad decision. Yeah. Period.
Decision makers. If you think Wes made a good decision, leave a like, leave a comment. If you think Andrew, the guy from the Crucible, made a good decision, leave a like, leave a comment. All right, decision makers, don't yell at anybody.